Hey Internet, Eric here. I've been wanting to do this video for about a week now, but I wanted to let my thoughts process on this. This video is going to be strictly, completely unrehearsed, as you can see. I have no notes, nothing like that. But I wanted to try to remember the plot points I want to discuss. If anyone who knows me, like knows me on a personal level, or some of the stuff I've said on this channel or other people's channel, is my favorite movie of all time is the original Crow. It has been for as long as I remember. And going back, back on the Night Watch Zone, we used to do a series of weekly videos called the Brass Tacks. And one of those episodes was favorite movie characters of all time, or it was favorite heroes of all time. I think it was movie characters. My number one was Eric Draven. Brandon Lee as Eric Draven. And the reason why I wanted to do this video is the trailer to the new Crow movie is coming out. Or it came out. The movie's coming out, I think, in May. It came out. Bill Skarsgård is Eric Draven, and of course, the internet had to lose its shit. And I am all for. I've always said, I have this thing going on Twitter or X right now. Remake everything, and I've always said, remake everything because, A, it can open up a new fan base to the original. B, I just want to see a good movie. There are a lot of good fucking remakes out there. Or C, I've also said that even if the remake sucks, you still have the original to fall back on. The movie that you love and stuff like that. And of course, because, the movie is so different. This movie seems like so different. Again, it's a trailer. You don't know what the fuck you're getting. They could show you scenes in the trailer that aren't in the finished film. The internet first lost their minds when they saw Bill Skarsgård. Before the trailer, just showing stills, tattoos on his face, tattoos all over his body, and they're comparing him to Jared Leto's Joker. I saw some people comparing him to ICP, stuff like that, and they were very, very unhappy. But then it just made me think, you know what? These are the same people. A lot of them are. A lot of them really are the same people that I know because I've seen it. Complaining about the look of the Crow were the same people that complained about Bill's look as Pennywise and then changed their mind after they saw the performance. But long story short, I'm wondering, and I just going through my head the hatred for this film that the reasons are people seem to just pulling out of their ass. I get how you can love a film so much, and I get how someone can think a remake is a bad idea. A lot of people are sick of Hollywood doing remakes and stuff like that. I get that if this movie touched you in a certain way, you loved it for the character, you loved it for the soundtrack. Maybe you were a goth kid in high school, and for some reason, it struck a chord with you. God bless you. That's great. Some people I saw online saying that the Eric Draven character represented a lot of goth culture to them, and that's what stuck with them. And they see Bill Skarsgård as Eric Draven, no longer a goth character, a gothic character, and that's why they don't like this film, or they don't think they're going to like this film because of how they switched up the character, the look. I can 100% agree with that. I love civil conversation. You know what I mean? And what gets me is just how people are just so quick to hate a film with, to a lack of a better term for me, bullshit reasons. Now the trailer comes out and it shows Eric and Chili's murder, and then we have Eric. It seems like he's in the afterlife. He's not dressed up like the Crow in a lot of the scenes. He is brutally killing a lot of people, and then they have the whole montage of him. It's like some auto-tuned Ozzy Osbourne and some rapper singing a song while Eric's doing his thing. I get that. One of the reasons that people said this movie was going to suck that totally blew my mind was because it had this shitty song in the trailer. They thought that was going to make the movie awful. How do you even know that this movie is even in the film? You know what I mean? A lot of people let's use the example of the Pet Sematary remake. A lot of the filmmakers have no idea how these trailers are going to be edited together. Did the director of this Crow remake know that they're going to have that shitty song put in their trailer? Maybe not. This song might not be in the finished product. Going to Pet Sematary, when we have that reveal, the movie's been out long enough that it's Ellie who is killed and not Gage in the remake, and you see that full on in the trailer. They had no idea the trailer was cut that way, and they were pissed. So that kind of shows that maybe the director of this film didn't know that that song was going to be used. Now, there are some people that are saying that Eric Draven can only be played by Brandon Lee. And director of the original film, Alex Proyas, is that how you say it? Proys. Alex Proyas, and I did a short on this, but the reason why I'm doing this video is because I got a little bit more to speak on this. I don't know the exact quote, but he mentioned how he doesn't like the fact that they're remaking The Crow because of it being Eric Draven and with what happened to Brandon on set. And everyone, not just Alex, but him specifically, he's talking about, he was quoted, and I don't know the exact quote, but he literally said something like, "We wouldn't want to take a dump on Brandon Lee's legacy, would we?" Well, and I've said this, and then he's also requoted saying he doesn't really want to join in on the negativity, or he doesn't like the negativity, but the fans speak for themselves. Well, like I just said, Alex, this movie's my favorite. The original's my favorite movie of all time. So not every fan of The Crow is speaking negatively. And you yourself are adding to this negativity by this whole take a dump quote. Now, I've said this to a lot of people online. Brandon Lee died making this film. And I'm not going to get into the technical stuff of it because I don't want to say something that is wrong. You know what I mean? Because a lot of stuff went into the tragedy that happened. You can Wikipedia that stuff. You can Google it. There's so many articles that explained what happened. Well, the thought of this is, Mr. Proyas, or anyone who is just saying it's going to tarnish Brandon's legacy, think about this. Maybe if the working conditions were a lot safer and more, I don't know if micromanage is the right term, but more managed, Brandon might still be alive to this day and not have a legacy that will have someone shit on it. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is Brandon's legacy literally just this film? Don't get me wrong, I love his performance. But he's also in Rapid Fire, which is a fun action flick. He's in Showdown in Little Tokyo, which is a movie with Dolph Lundgren, but it's its own thing. It's fun in its own ways. He was on Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. I think maybe because his career sadly ended with his life at such a young age, but his career was suddenly cut short because of that. People focused so much on the tragedy that happened making this film that's where all their focus is. They don't realize that there was more to Brandon Lee than just this film. Some people are saying that he gave his life to make this movie. No, he didn't give his life to make this movie. It was a tragedy. It was a fucking accident while making this film. Brandon Lee wasn't some martyr. Okay? Unsafe situation caused his death. Nothing more. Nothing more than that. And I don't know, I think people are focused so much on this tragedy that they're attached to their love and appreciation for Brandon, more so, the fact that someone else is now playing the Eric Draven character. Now, like I said, I get that a lot of people are attached to Eric because of the goth culture. I was not a goth kid. I didn't have any goth friends. I was never a part of that culture, so I can't speak of that. Now, a lot of people are also saying that they don't like the uber violent look of the film. Eric is blowing people's heads off with shotguns. He is walking up the stairs getting blown away by semi-auto, like by handguns, just shaking it off. He is getting stabbed in the gut by a samurai sword, then shoots himself so the guy behind him can die. He's pulling out the sword. He's cutting heads off and throwing them in the crowd. People don't like this uber violent style action. Well, I just started reading The Crow by James O'Barr. Okay? Almost done with it. This book is violent as fuck. You have animals dying. You literally have the death scene of Eric. He gets shot in the back of his head. And then he's just standing there paralyzed. He gets shot again, and the muzzle is so close that his hair catches fire. The scene with Shelley is somewhat violent. You have people's heads getting blown up, people's heads getting cut off. You have jaws being exploded. You have stabbings. You have so much violence in this. You have so much violence in this book that could be where they're taking the inspiration. And granted, people might not realize that because, as violent as the first or the original film was, I think the tone of the violence is coming from the source material. A lot of people don't like the look of Eric in this movie. I get that. I already said the whole Pennywise stuff with Bill Skarsgård. I think he looks fine to me, and what I like is how he's not in the fucking crow makeup the whole time when he's out there, getting his revenge. Now, a lot of people, and first off, I want to give a shout out to Knight from the Night Watch Zone and Marty from Trash Picture Club. They also have their own videos and thoughts on this trailer, on fan backlash and yada, yada, yada. But I did not watch those videos yet because I didn't want to be influenced by anything that they would say. I'm going to go watch some videos after I get done recording this. But I had to shout out my boys. Now, the reason why I thought about that is Marty from Trash Picture Show. I know how he said something in a group chat, I think it was. And he said he would have preferred that if it wasn't Eric Draven, it could be, because there's many Crow stories. There's this one by James O'Barr. I got a couple other trade paperbacks, different characters. And see, what I like about Marty is he can be civil. A lot of these people are saying, why couldn't it just be another Crow movie? Why does it have to be Eric Draven? Why can't it just be another person? Yada, yada, yada. And do you guys realize what we've had since The Crow? We've gone from Brandon Lee as Eric Draven to, because they said they'd rather have a sequel, to Vincent Perez, who is, this one's okay. But his performance it goes from good and depressing because it's about him losing himself and his son. But then there's a lot of scenes where he's like, I don't know if he's trying to channel Bruce or Brandon Lee, but he comes off, and it's not because he's painted up like a fucking clown, like a court jester. Like he's coming off like a clown, like a dork sometimes. Like the scene where he's got the cards, and I don't know if he's talking to Thomas Jane or somebody, and it's just like he's trying too hard. And then when you add a lot of the mysticism in there with the final villain, ugh. Okay, would you rather have? Do you guys not know that we got the third film, which I think is underrated? Eric Mabius, I think, is pretty good. Kirsten Dunst is fine. We got Dale Midkiff. Shout out to Pet Sematary. But we had this. A lot of people don't know this one exists. This one was okay. But here's the thing. You would rather have another Crow movie. Now, a lot of people are rolling their eyes. Oh, why do we got to make another Crow movie? Why can't we just have, something else? Same people, I know for a fact that some of these people that are saying, why remake it, would also complain about having another sequel. Do you really want, Bill Skarsgård's movie might be, a steaming pile of crap. Won't know until we see it. But let's just say there's nothing being made at all. Do you really want, if you're a fan of The Crow, like I am, do you really want the legacy, let's throw that movie out, the legacy of the Crow series to end on The Crow Wicked Prayer? Edward Furlong, okay? Tara Reid, David Boreanaz, Danny Trejo's in there, dances with the fucking crow. Dennis Hopper, coked out of his mind. would you really want to end the film with this representation of the Crow character? I mean, look at that. That looks just as bad, if not worse than Bill Skarsgård. This is an awful film. It's so bad it's good at times, but it is not a good film. And I personally would rather have a really good remake of my favorite movie of all time, than end on this. Look at that. So, I mean, that's like kind of a short and sweet video. I didn't know how long this was going to go. It's just, and don't get me wrong, I'm the first to admit that when it comes to casting and it comes to look, give the person the benefit of the doubt. I'm first to admit that I thought Heath Ledger as the fucking Joker, the 10 Things I Hate About You guy, that's gonna suck. Ben Affleck as Batman, please. Great performances. Bill Skarsgård can act his ass off. Great as Pennywise. He was great in, not Penny Dreadful, what was the other one? Hemlock Grove. He was great in Hemlock Grove. Barbarian. He's always really good. That whole fucking family is great. So give him a shot. Like, I understand if you don't like the director. I think Mike, shout out to Mike on American Werewolf in New Jersey. He didn't like the director because I think the director did, was it Snow White and the Huntsman? That's fine. You don't like the guy's previous work, that's fine. But when you're saying stupid stuff, and it is stupid saying that you think this movie is going to suck just because of the music in the trailer. Now, don't get me wrong, that can kill a vibe, because the original Crow itself, one of the main components was its soundtrack, and then it can probably take people out when you had this Ozzy Osbourne rapper auto-tune shit. So I get it. So that's it. That's all I have to say. If I forget anything, too fucking bad. I'm just saying, give it a chance. I'm going to be there opening weekend. Like I said, The Crow, my favorite movie of all time. Eric Draven, my favorite movie character of all time. He's great. It's a love story. It's a revenge story. Supernatural, action, all that stuff. This looks fucking good to me. You know what I mean? Keeping an open mind. You don't like the look? You might change your mind when you see it on the big screen. How long is he going to be dressed like a juggalo? We don't know. You don't like, a lot of people saying they didn't like the stylized violence because it looked like John Wick. Well, that's how it is nowadays. You don't like the overuse of violence that it seems like it's going to. Read the source material. Trust me, you'd be surprised. Come on, we don't want to fucking end on Edward Furlong and Tara Reid. Just my thoughts. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment below. Click the bell. All that stuff. Tell me what you think. Do you like The Crow? Do you like The Crow, the original movie? Are you going to give the second Crow? Are you going to give the Crow remake or reboot, however you want to say it, a chance? Flat out say, no, it looks like garbage. If you think it looks like garbage, why? I would love to hear why. And that's another problem. Oh my gosh, I think it was on the Night Watch Zone, and it was one of his community tabs, and I don't know what exactly it was, but it was something like, what do you think of the Crow remake, or blah, blah, blah. And I said my thoughts. I think it's going to look really good, blah, blah, blah. And then someone said, why would you tarnish the original? I said this earlier in the video. The original, it will not be affected at all. You will love it no matter what. You will still cherish it. And I asked this person, or I said to this person, just what I just said. A remake will not tarnish the original, blah, blah, blah. They said, I don't agree with you. So I flat out said, I said, okay, then how would a remake tarnish an original film? And they just flat out answered, no. What does that even mean? I honestly always wondered, how do you think a remake could tarnish the film it's remaking? You know what I mean? And that's why I say, civil conversation sadly seems dead. And that's the internet, baby. Like and subscribe, all that crap. Comment below, tell me what you think. Negative, positive, let's be civil. But I'm really curious into why people think this movie is going to suck. I'd love to hear it. I really would. So with that, cheers.